Wince. To flinch or show pain or discomfort. Example, he would wince when the doctor gave him a shot. Sneak. To move quietly and secretly. Example, the cat would sneak up on the unsuspecting bird. Twitch. To make a sudden, small movement. Example, when she touched his arm, he couldn't help but twitch in surprise. Wail. To cry out loudly in grief or pain. Example, the mournful sound of the wind made it seem like it was wailing. Nuzzle. To rub or push gently with the nose or face. Example, the horse would nuzzle against the rider. Swivel. To turn or rotate around a fixed point. Example, the chair could swivel to face any direction. Prance. To walk or move in a lively and spirited manner. Example, the horse would prance in excitement. Wobble. To move unsteadily from side to side. Example, the uneven table wobbled when touched. Cacophony. A harsh, discordant mixture of sounds. Example, the city street was filled with a cacophony of honking horns and shouting voices. Quirk. A peculiar or unexpected behavior. Example, one of his quirks was always wearing mismatched socks. Slither. To move smoothly and quietly like a snake. Example, the snake would slither through the grass. Peck. To strike or pick up with the beak. Example, the chickens would peck at the scattered grains. Euphoria. A feeling of intense happiness and excitement. Example, winning the championship filled the team with euphoria and a sense of accomplishment. Tangle. To twist or interweave things into a confused mass. Example, the cords under the desk were all tangled up. Roar. To make a loud, deep, and powerful sound. Example: the lion's roar could be heard from a distance. Pounce. To quickly and aggressively seize or attack. Example: the cat pounced on the toy mouse. Crank. To turn a handle or lever to operate a machine. Example: he had to crank the engine to start the car. Grumble. To complain or express dissatisfaction. Example: he would grumble about the long wait in line. Murmur. To speak or say something in a low, soft voice. Example: the lovers would murmur sweet words to each other. Tug. Topple something with a sudden, sharp movement. Example: she had to tug on the rope to lift the heavy box. Glare. To stare angrily or fiercely at someone. Example: the teacher gave a glare to the noisy students. Stomp. To make a heavy and noisy step by forcefully bringing the foot down. Example: he would stomp his feet in frustration. Hiss. To make a sharp, sibilant sound like a snake. Example: the kettle started to hiss when it boiled. Smack. To hit with a loud, sharp sound. Example: he gave the table a smack with his palm. Hum. To make a continuous, low, and musical sound. Example: the refrigerator would hum softly in the background. Snort. To exhale forcibly through the nostrils, often as a sign of annoyance. Example: the horse would snort when startled. Quiver. To tremble or shake slightly. Example: the aspen leaves would quiver in the breeze. Linger. To stay in a place longer than necessary. Example, the aroma of fresh coffee made him linger in the kitchen. Cherish. To hold dear and appreciate deeply. Example, they would cherish the memories of their trip. Lurk. To lie in wait, often with a sinister intent. Example, the cat would lurk in the shadows, ready to pounce. Clasp. To grasp or hold tightly. Example, she would clasp her hands in prayer. Rustle. To make a soft, muffled sound like the movement of leaves. Example, the wind would rustle through the trees. Squirm. To twist or wriggle the body from side to side. Example, the child would squirm in discomfort during the long meeting. Savor. To enjoy or appreciate something deeply. Example, she would savor the flavor of the delicious chocolate. Glide. To move smoothly and effortlessly. Example, the figure skater would glide across the ice with grace. Droop. To bend or hang downward limply. Example, the flowers began to droop after days without water. Greet. To welcome or acknowledge with a gesture or word. Example, they would greet each other with a warm smile. Smirk. To smile in a smug or self-satisfied way. Example, he couldn't help but smirk after winning the game. Preen. To groom or clean oneself with the beak or tongue. Example, the bird would preen its feathers after bathing. Trudge. To walk slowly and heavily, often with difficulty. Example, the tired hiker would trudge up the steep hill. Mutter. To speak in a low and indistinct manner. Example, he would mutter under his breath when frustrated. Coo. to make a soft murmuring or gentle sound. Example, the dove would coo in the peaceful garden. Glare. To stare angrily or fiercely. Example, she would glare at him for forgetting their anniversary. Loom. To appear as a shadowy, large, or threatening figure. Example, the mountain would loom in the distance. Frolic. To play and move about in a lively and playful way. Example, the puppies would frolic in the grassy field. Whimper. To make a low, plaintive, or distressed sound. Example, the puppy would whimper when left alone. Snicker. To give a half-suppressed laugh. Example, the kids would snicker in the back of the classroom. Clamor. A loud and confused noise. Example, the marketplace was filled with the clamor of voices. Fumble. To handle something clumsily or awkwardly. Example, he would fumble with the keys before unlocking the door. Plop. To fall or drop with a sound like something heavy hitting a surface. Example, the raindrops would plop onto the roof. Droop. To bend or hang downward limply. Example, the flowers began to droop after days without water. Glide. To move smoothly and effortlessly. Example, the swan glided across the serene lake. Purr. A soft, continuous, vibrating sound made by a contented cat. Example, the cat would purr while being petted. Chuckle. To laugh quietly or to oneself. Example, he couldn't help but chuckle at the amusing story. Smack. To hit with a loud, sharp sound. Example, he gave the table a smack with his palm in frustration. Glimmer. To shine faintly with a wavering light. Example, the stars would glimmer in the night sky. Toss. To throw something lightly or casually. Example, he would toss the ball to his friend. Clatter. To make a loud, rattling noise. Example, the dishes would clatter as they fell to the floor. Peep. To make a small, high-pitched sound. Example, the chicks would peep in the nest. Drift. To be carried along by currents of air or water. Example, the clouds would drift lazily across the sky. Stir. To mix by moving a spoon or stick in a circular motion. Example, she would stir the soup on the stove. Shuffle. Walk by dragging or sliding the feet. Example, he would shuffle his feet awkwardly in the dance. Whirl. To spin or rotate rapidly. Example, the dancer would whirl gracefully on the floor. Cackle. To laugh noisily or in a shrill manner. Example, the witches would cackle as they brewed their potions. Glisten. To shine with a soft, radiant light. Example, the dew on the leaves would glisten in the morning sun. Quixotic. Exceedingly idealistic, unrealistic and impractical. Example, his quixotic pursuit of a world without conflict seemed admirable, if not naive. Serendipity. Finding something good without looking for it. Example, their chance meeting was a serendipitous moment that changed their lives. Stumble. To trip or lose balance while walking. Example, she stumbled over a tree root in the dark forest. Pernicious. Having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. Example, the pernicious influence of negative peer pressure can lead to destructive behaviors. Ubiquitous, present, appearing, or found everywhere. Example, smartphones have become ubiquitous in today's society. Voracious, wanting or devouring great quantities of something. Example, she had a voracious appetite for books, often finishing several in a week. Capricious, given to sudden and unaccountable changes of mood or behavior. Example, the weather in this region is known for its capricious nature, often shifting unexpectedly. Sniff, to inhale air audibly through the nose. Example, he would sniff the flowers to enjoy their fragrance. Flutter, to move with quick, light, and irregular motions. Example, the butterfly would flutter from flower to flower. Squint, to partly close the eyes to see better or reduce glare. Example, he would squint in the bright sunlight. Thanks for watching and subscribe us for more.